Hello, world. We're live. Welcome to this August 2026 edition of the Laravel Worldwide Meetup. My name is Dan Sapelsa. I'm a developer at Vehicle, and along with my co-host, Margot Tavares, we're thrilled to once again bring you an awesome presentation from someone from this great Laravel community. Speaking of my co-host, Margot, how are you today?
Doing pretty good, Dan. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's hard to believe we're approaching the end of summer here in North America. It's been a good one. There's been some great events. We were at Laracon US just a few short weeks ago. Got to connect with a lot of great people in the community, meet some people for the first time, catch up with some old friends. So yeah, it's been a good summer, and it's not quite over yet. And yeah, looking forward to today's presentation as well. Before we get to today's presentation, we do have, as we always do, a little bit of housekeeping, some community events and things to highlight. So what do we got going on, Margot?
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. So if you haven't heard the great Laravel news resource, please check them out. So big thanks to Eric Barnes and his team. And thanks to Eric for interviewing us at Laracon US. And you can go check that out at the Laracon US stream. So that was super fun to do. Thanks, Eric. It's one of the best ways to stay connected with what's happening in the Laravel community. And they do a great job covering all the releases, tutorials, and everything going on each week. So please check them out at laravelnews.com. And you could also check out their Laravel News podcast with Jake Bennett and Michael Drinda as well. And then we also have the Laravel podcast with Matt Stauffer. And so in their latest episode, lots of coverage from Laracon US, a lot of great coverage about all the latest releases in Laravel. Please check it out, as Matt was interviewing with Taylor Otwell, also Aaron Francis, a lot of great cool things that are going on. So you can check them out at laravelpodcast.com. Lara Jobs is also another great resource. So if you're looking to hire some Laravel developers or you want to post a job for all your Laravel job needs, you can check them out at larajobs.com. And Laracast is another great resource to check out if you want to learn some Laravel. So you can check them out at laracast.com. So big thanks to Jeffrey Way and his team for providing such a great resource for the community. And speaking of community, if you want to take a look and share your stories with the Laravel community, please take a look at community.laravel.com. So if you're looking for more events that are happening around the world, you can check out all the meetups, a lot of different events. You can post your own event as well. So please check them out at community.laravel.com. And as for some stories that you'd like to share, you could also check out laravel.com/stories. So you can highlight your story to the community, answer some of Taylor's questions, and bring that out to the rest of the community to share. And also big thanks to our host, to Vehicle, for helping sponsor this meetup and hosting it. They have a great team of developers, and they specialize in team augmentation. So if you have a Laravel problem, they'd be happy to help you out. You can check out their website at vehicle.com or email them at go@vehicle.com. We're also doing a giveaway, so make sure to sign up. You can scan that QR code. We're going to be collecting responses and doing our draw on September 1st. So big thank you to JetBrains for providing this great resource as well. And I'll pass it off to Dan to introduce our speaker for this month.
Thank you, Margot. Our speaker this month doesn't need much of an introduction. Well known in the Laravel community. He's been a long-time Laravel community member, speaker at numerous Laracon events and Laravel community events. And in recent times, you can find Christoph as a DevRel engineer at Laravel on this very YouTube channel, where there's numerous videos of Christoph sharing insights, tips, and tricks into new features in the framework, and thoughts and approaches for how we're thinking about building software in this modern age. And I think his talk today is going to be kind of along those lines. So without further ado, let's bring him in here. Christoph, how are you today?
Hey, I'm really good. Thank you, Dan and Margot, for having me. It's my first time here, so I'm super excited.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Really looking forward to we were chatting before, the topic of your talk. I think it's something we've all been experiencing and continue to experience. You said some of us are feeling an existential crisis maybe with the onset of AI, especially in the last year. So I think there'll be lots of people. This will connect with a lot of people, and there'll be a lot of head nodding across the crowd, I'm guessing, today through your presentation. Yeah.
And I hope lots of spicy comments for me.
Yeah,
the questions for later.
Everyone's going to have an opinion, as we often do.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, unless there's anything you want to touch on before we get going, if you wanted to share your screen there, Christoph, we can hand things off to you. Margot and I will step backstage, and we'll give it up to you.
I'm ready.
All right. I see a screen share. I think we're going to get a little screenception here for a moment. Oh, there we go. I see the slides. Awesome. Full screen looks great. Okay. Well, without further ado, Margot and I will step back. The stage is yours, Christoph, and we'll chat in a little bit.
Perfect. So I want to start today by asking you all watching currently a question. Do you still write code yourself manually? And if you do, how much is it compared to maybe 1 year ago? Is it same amount, still 100%? Is it less, 80, 70, 50, 40, maybe 20, maybe 0? Maybe you're not writing any code yourself anymore. Please let us know in the comments, and we're going to come back to this in after my talk again. So my talk today is about a side project of mine, which is called Bet Your Goal. And it's a score prediction application mainly built for the last soccer World Cup, which we had in the US this year. You can bet on the games, on the outcome of the tournament. And yeah, the best thing about this, there is no money involved. Sorry, no money, just about the famous bragging rights at your dinner table, group chats at your company, so that you can tell everybody that you knew better for sure what was the outcome of this game. And I can really say this is the application that I always wanted to build. So for a very long time, I felt like I wanted to build this exact application. And the reason is I've been using similar applications for the last 20 years, maybe even more. So every 2 years, there's a major soccer football event around the world. We have the Euros and we have the World Cup. So every 2 years, a major event. And every time we had some kind of app here, especially here locally, but also from other friends from other countries I know as well, with groups that wanted to bet on the outcome of the game. And it's so addicting. It's so much fun. And yeah, but all the apps that I used in the last 20 years, so many different ones, they were, let's say, all pretty bad. And mostly because they were mostly by some media companies that had lots of advertising in there. And there was one better one by Beyond Code, which I also used a couple of years, but they're not using it anymore and not maintaining it. And I felt like, okay, this is now my chance, my time to finally build this app. And I was really eager to have a new side project. I have two young kids, and the last 2 years or 3 years have been pretty crazy. And I really felt like I needed this side project, which I care about, which brings some, I wanted to say joy back to my life, but yeah, the kids also bring some joy, but yeah, differently. My point is I wanted to have this side project, and I felt like this was the idea. So this means last year in October, I created a repository and started working on this side project. And with every side project of mine, I have a couple of goals that I want to reach, or some rules, something new that I wanted to learn or try out. And for this one, what I wanted to do is I wanted to write every line of code myself. So maybe the opposite of what you do today, but back then I wanted to write every line of code myself. And the reason was, at Laravel, I don't write that much code anymore, just some simple demo application. I have some side projects here and there, but nothing, super exciting or super heavy. And I really wanted to feel again what it's like with those modern tools, what it's like writing more code again. And often when you write code, you also have some ideas for new videos and new things to teach. So I really wanted to give this a try and write everything by hand. So this was the first goal. And the second one was I wanted to try a new stack. And in this case, it was Inertia and React, a really super powerful stack that we have here with Laravel, which also powers Laravel Cloud. And I wanted to see, okay, what it's like working with Inertia and React. I've been a heavy Livewire fan over the last years, used that a lot, but I also felt like I need to know those other stacks that we have in the Laravel world and wanted to give this a try. And also something that I wanted to try for quite a while is building an event-based application. And I felt like this Bet Your Goal application was perfect for this because there are lots of things happening. A user creates a bet, a user gets a score, a user earns maybe a badge or something. And these are all events that you can, where it feels like this would be perfect for this application. And the cool thing about this, when, for example, when you have such an application, when you change the score of a user, you don't go database and change the score from 10 to 15. You have an event, and then we can collect all the events for this user, and then we get a summary of the points. And this way we can also replay this. We always know where the points come from. We can show things like streaks, how many points they got in a row and things like that. So lots of new possibilities when you work with an event-based application. And for this, I tried the Verbs package out there, which is, there are a couple of other ones out there, one famous one by Sparsy as well, but Verbs resonated with me somehow the most. It was a little bit simpler. in determining how you can use it. So I felt like this was perfect for me to use it. Okay, so back in October, I started this side project. I had my goals set and I started working. And I worked like, 2 kids again, maybe 1 hour at night, maybe even less sometimes. And I wasn't fast. I learned a lot about React. React is still JavaScript. I learned it's still annoying a lot, but it's also cool. But yeah, it was fun. I learned new stuff. It was cool. It was exhausting. It was pretty cool, actually. But then around, I think in February, I built around 50% of this application. And I had this little question in the back of my head already for some months and weeks, and it got bigger, bigger, and bigger. And it was this one: is writing code still worth my time? And I'm pretty sure you felt this yourself as well. And in February, it was really like, okay, I spend a lot of time writing code. Can I maybe spend my time better by, for example, learning new things, the new AI tools, new agents, new models, learn about all these new things coming into our development world? Because at some point I also have to know more about how they work, what they do, even if I don't use them that much back then. I felt like I need to understand them. Also from a job at Laravel, I need to understand what's going on with developers, with teaching. There's so much changing, and I felt like, okay, I need to learn more about those. And I felt like, okay, maybe this side project is also good for this. So what I did back then was I switched to phase number 2, which is let the agents do all the work. So from this point on, I think it was around February, I'm not going to write any line of code myself anymore, not even one anymore. And yeah, this was quite a shift. And of course, I had some goals with this. I wanted to learn more about the agentic way of coding, what the current tools, AI models, agents work like, what are the limits, and all the things. And also one point here, I wanted to really finish this application. I still had a couple of months back then, but I know, and you also know how it goes with those side projects. It sometimes takes longer than you want to. And it was the same with this. And I really wanted to finish this. And you can say a lot about AI, but one thing that is really true, it can be really, really fast. So let me give you a little demo here. I finished this application. And here is what it looks like. The tournament is already finished, where we already can see here that Spain won here. But basically, I have to log in here again, of course. So this is a dashboard. Again, we can see the outcome of the tournament already. And at the end, you could also get your wrapped image with some stats of all your games and your different leagues. So you could join different leagues. We had an official Laravel one, for example. I was 8th, not too bad. We had a public one where everybody could join. We had 100 people there. And yeah, for every league, you had a specific leaderboard where you could show how you did. We had tournament bets where you had to, before the tournament started, define who is going to win. By the way, I'm really sorry I said Argentina because in the final, we all knew nobody wanted Argentina to win. So I'm very glad that Spain won, even though I lost those 10 points, which was really sad. But also the second place and the runner-up, third place, Austria, didn't work out as expected for me. And also Harry Kane let me down really bad. So yeah, this was not my year. And then a lot of this application is about having bets here. And there are lots and lots of games that you had to bet on. So this was something that I really wanted to get right in this application. So this is the application. I finished it. And of course, especially with the second part of how I built this application, I learned a lot of new things. A lot of things that I wanted to share. So I wanted to start with the tools that I reached for. So I started with very common Cloud Code and Codex CLIs in terminal. I love being in the terminal, and those CLIs work really well, extremely good. So that's how I started. And then very soon I switched to an application called Polyscope. Let us know in the comments if you know Polyscope by Beyond Code. And oh damn, I messed this up. It's this application here. It looks like this. It's kind of an IDE, but it's very IDE driven, I'd say. So the main thing here is a chat. It's not the code anymore, it's a chat. So I've prepared here a new workspace. It's kind of a new copy of the application where you can or let your AI work on specific features. It's pretty cool because you can have a couple of workspaces that work on same files without any issues here. So for example, here we want to create a simple language switcher for the homepage. I'm going to send this and we're going to come back to this a bit later, but this is beyond code. And I was using this really heavily. Let me get back here. Where is my... I've lost my browser. Where are you? Come back here. Okay, no idea where it went, but we are back here again. Okay, the second thing was Solo, which you might know. It's an application by my new boss, Aaron Francis. Crazy, right? Coming from the internet world and now being my boss. It's so cool to have him on the team. This is Solo. When you take a look, the main thing here in the middle looks very much the same like Codex CLI because it's Codex CLI, but it's living within the Solo app. And on the left, I have my projects here. And here, this is my main agent, which you currently see. I call this Sauron because it has a good eye of everybody, what's happening, of all the other agents that it can spin up. And this is one of the cool features here for this application. It has a very amazing MCP that lets those agents work together. I can say spin up 5 codexes, spin up 5 cloud codes, let them work together, and then everything bring this down into a Scratch file, which we can store here, which is kind of a summary of their result. And then we can make some to-dos from those and then let agents work on those to-dos. So that's really cool and also something that I reached out quite a bit for. Okay, it's really crazy. My browser always goes away when I'm switching here, but we're going to find this. Okay, here it is. Okay. It wouldn't be a live stream if something is not going as we expected. Okay, back in here. Something that I also reached for is Cloud Design. And it was the first time that I checked out this tool by Cloud Code, or by Cloud itself, and it's about designing stuff. And I was really, really blown away by how good it was out of the box. Really crazy. I mean, maybe it's also because all those other CLIs and tools and AI agents, they are not that good. Let's be honest, they're not good at doing design stuff. There are some skills that you can use. You can provide really good information, really good prompt, and this can help you to give you some good results. But Cloud Design is really next level. And it one-shotted lots and lots of features that I needed, and I was absolutely blown away. Of course, like always with every AI model, there are things that just work out of the box, and then there are things that you have to go and forth like 20 times, and you have no idea how such a smart model can mess something very small so many times up. But yeah, that's still the case. And the very cool thing about Cloud Design is that everything is still code. So this means the workflow for me was I designed something in Cloud Design. I asked it to create an export with React components. Then I used those React components and sent this zip to Polyscope. And then Polyscope was, I wrote a prompt there. Hey, here's the export from this new design, this new page. Please take a look at the code. Use everything there, what you need. Please check also what are components that we already have that we can reuse. And yeah, please implement this. And this was a workflow that worked really, really well for me. Okay, when we talk about coding with AI, there are 2 terms that somehow settle in our industry. I'm not really sure why, because I don't think they fit that well, but we have vibe coding. I think this is even the better one, where you write a prompt, maybe, hey, create me this new application, this website. You check it visually, everything looks fine, and you move on. You don't care about the underlying output. You just check the result, you think it's fine, and you move on, and you just go with the vibe, flow with the vibe here. And I do this a lot myself, so I'm not judging here. But for something serious and with my side project, I really wanted to be a little bit more serious. For me, the agentic coding was the only way to do this. You're also starting with a prompt, but then the next step is you are checking the code, you're reviewing it. then maybe check the output, and then you write another prompt and you move on. And this is kind of the more responsible way of dealing with AI and agents when they create code for you, because you are still the person in control, because you are checking and you're telling AI, I don't want that. I want the comments in my tests always to have a range, act, and assert. That's what I always need. Please make this work. And yeah, that's just a way that I felt is also the more responsible way of coding currently with AI. So there were 3 things that I want to talk about a little bit more. So reviewing code, the tools again, and then trust versus ownership. So we have now those amazing tools out there that can write code very easily and very fast. So writing code is not an issue anymore, but reviewing code has become the issue for me. I was never in a role where I worked where I had to review a lot of code from other people. So for me, this was kind of pretty new. And this was really hard and really exhausted right from the beginning. So I'm not writing the code anymore, which I liked, but now I have to review review code which I didn't like, which is kind of a strange shift here. And I felt like, okay, am I doing the right thing here? Why am I doing the stuff that I don't like? Maybe it would be better the other way around, but this wasn't an option. So reviewing code has become really difficult for me, and I really feel that this is a skill. I'm pretty sure it's a skill that you have to learn. And I got better for with time. And yeah, you really have to train this. What helped me a lot was working on small PR, small features that I could change quite, that I could review more easily. I had to take a lot of breaks because my eyes were, my eyes hurt a lot. And I also use Polyscope quite a lot. Let me show you why. So we also see that this is already finished, a feature from before. Let me bring in the built-in browser. Do we see something? No, that's an issue that they're working on. It is not running. I see a white page. Please fix. Okay, let's see if it gets it right. You have a built-in browser where you can check the feature mostly. Again, they're working. This is a common feature that they're working on. And here on the right here, I can see all the files that were changed with this feature. And what's really cool about this, let's authorize this. You can check out all those files. It's going to switch between now because it's still working on something. But I can check out all those files and can mark them as viewed. Okay, I'm good with this. If not, I can ask questions about this code. Hey, why is this there? Why is this not there? Or please make this different. And then it will do this. And at the end, I have all my files here marked as viewed. For me, this review is done. I'm ready. And then I would go on and just merge this. So let me see. Okay, we got this in here. You can see it's not perfect, but that's also, let's see if it works here. Okay. Very sorry, Marcel, if you're watching, but this is still a common issue. But we can see here it was working on this feature. Let me just check the German version here. Can I make this a little bit bigger? Yeah, okay, this looks better. Das war's. Danke für jeden Tipp. FIFA World Cup 22 ist beendet. Jeder Tipp ist ausgewertet und die Registrierung ist abgeschlossen. Okay, you can see it worked. It was super fast. Is it perfect? Probably not. I might need to change a couple of things, but yeah, that's basically just to show you what the flow it works, and then I could just merge it and it will be in my repository. And again, reviewing here was something that I really liked. And again, come back here, my browser. My browser is tired of me and wants to leave me. Okay, and it wouldn't be a side project if you wouldn't have a side project from your side project, right? With every new side project, there must be another side project because without that, it wouldn't work. So the issue for me was I liked reviewing code in Polyscope. It was not perfect, but it was pretty good. But for Solo and other tools, they created amazing PRs on my repository, but then I still had to review them. And those native things on GitHub, GitTower, all these tools, however they are named, they didn't really click for me. They show me the code, but I needed someone to help me walk me through this PR. That's where this name comes from. I needed some help here. So that's why I created this new application. Let me just go back here. This is called Walk My PR. All right, so what this does is you give it a pull request URL, and then from your PR, it creates this kind of overview and walks you through. Let's sign in here again, and these are some PRs that are already analyzed. And the way it works, again, you can provide a GitHub URL, or you can also choose a local repository, which just works for me locally. But yeah, it was only for me for now, so that's why I was fine with this. And what you get here is then this pull request. And in the end, it's just a couple of files that were changed that you can all go through. Like this one, you can also mark them as reviewed. You can also, like in Polyscope, ask questions about why is this? You cannot change stuff yet. This is something that I'm still working on. But this is the one side. But what really I like the most here is this guided summary. So you have a summary of the PR. You maybe have this, or you probably have this already in your pull request description, but this is a little bit more different. I'll have a very brief one here. I also get a good code example. So this was about an artisan command that would end the tournament for everybody and then calculate a bunch of things in the end to get the winners, the final results, and everything. And what I liked about this process here, it tries to group your PR in things that belong together. So this is step number one, and those changes here belong to this. You have a little summary, you can get a big summary, and then the next step here, okay, this couple of changes are because of this. And then you can move on. At the end, we also have here some risk scan that checks everything again and feels like, hey, is this something that you should take another look at or not? And yeah, this is also a tool. It's not live yet. I'm not sure if I want to make it live, but it really helped me. And I think it's something that some of those modern tools are missing, because now we have to deal way more with pull requests than before, at least for me. And then one big thing about reviewing code. We already have to review code that we didn't write. And if this wouldn't be difficult enough, we now also have, or there's a good chance you have to review code that you don't understand. And for mostly PHP and Laravel, everything is straightforward for me. I know what's happening. I know how I want stuff to be. But with AI, you often reach out to new tools, to new frameworks, even maybe new languages like Swift or something. And then a lot of people tell you that if you're a good programmer, it doesn't matter that much. When you do agentic coding, you still have a good overview feeling of what's happening in the code, even if it's something new, and you can still work with that. I can tell you, for me, this didn't work really well. So in my case, it was React was the issue. So this is a heavily using app using React heavily. So this means lots of files in React that I had to review. And to be fair, there's no way that I could review them. I barely understand what's going on. Yeah, I can do this, but telling, is this good enough? Is this right? Is this the right place? Should I do this or that instead? I couldn't tell it. So this means very early on, I had to make a decision here. I tried at the beginning to understand everything, to make the right decisions here, but this wasn't worth my time, and it didn't have that much time. So this didn't work for me. So I decided I'm going to merge in accept all React files. And even when I'm saying this, this is super uncomfortable for me. I always cared about the code quality, the structure, the architecture, consistency, formatting, everything. I really care a lot. But now this wasn't possible anymore, and I had to let go. And I can say it worked really well for me. This application worked really well. I still have no idea how good the React code is, but what I also can tell, I'm pretty sure it's better than the React code that I would have written. Okay, back to the tools. As you've seen, I'm using a couple of different tools. There are way more than I use, and there are even way more out there. And I feel like we're currently in this phase where you just have to try out different tools and see what fits, what works, what doesn't work. You have to experiment a lot. And I don't feel like there's currently this one tool. Before with IDEs, there was maybe this one IDE that you're using, maybe PHP Storm, what it was for me, or Sublime, like for Taylor, VS Code, and so on. But now with those AI tools, I feel like we still have to use a couple of ones, and we're not there having just this one tool, or I haven't found it myself. So I think this still needs some time, but yeah, it's a good thing. There are so many tools out there that you can try out and experiment with. I also feel like when you work with AI, it's a little bit like working with colleagues or employees, and you still have to trust them in some way. You can't check everything that they do, because at some point then it wouldn't be worth anymore having them in your team. So I already told you I had to learn to let go about React. Goodbye React knowledge. I learned a little bit, but yeah, not as much as I wanted to. And yeah, I couldn't, even for PHP code, I'm not reviewing every line of code anymore. I think the more you review, the more you get a feeling on what are the parts in your application that you really want to check, what is important to review, to have a good eye on, and then there are other parts that are maybe not that important anymore. But maybe a lot of people will tell you, wait, but then AI will do something wrong, and this is not how it should be. What happens? It happens the same what always happens. There will be a bug. You're going to write a test for it, you're going to fix it, and you move on. And it's the same like it always has been. And I'm pretty sure there will be way more bugs when I write it myself. Not sure what it's with you, but for me, there would be way more bugs if I write it myself than AI writes it. I can really tell you we're already at this point. AI has become really, really good. And a lot of people already told me AI is really, really good at writing good React code. So don't be afraid of hitting bugs. It just fixes. That's just how it works. One thing that I realized with AI is that it gave me some more time or energy to work on some specifics a little bit more than I probably would have done if I had to write everything myself. And for me, this is part from the where you add the bets to your games in the application. So there's a little example, and it looks like straightforward. You have to import and then you save it. But there are lots of things that can go wrong. And I want to show you a couple things that I tried to fix here. So of course, you start in the first input, you put in a number, and then it goes to the second input. Very easy to make. It's not rocket science, of course, but it's something that is very handy when you have to put in a lot of bets. And then what would be the cool thing, if you add the second score, it already goes to the next game, and you see it was also already automatically saved. So removing some buttons for saving here, making this all automatically switch from one input to another and then to the next game is something that really worked well for this application. But there were really lots of edge cases here. And one of them I tried with a couple of testers, and one of them was my wife. And my wife entered a couple of inputs here, and I watched her. And what she did is she started with the second input. And I was like, wait, why would anyone start with the second input? No idea. And what happened is she entered it, and then it would automatically go to the next game. Because I was smart, thinking, hey, from the second input, if this gets filled, go to the next game. But don't do this if there's the first input not filled. And then I had to write a rule. So now when you put something into the second input, it goes automatically to the first input. And there are a couple of more rules. I think there are 12 or 13 rules in order to make this well. So for example, also for updating, if you updated something here, it goes back to this, and then you update it here, and then goes to the next game. So yeah, a couple of really lots of simple rules that don't look that fancy, but altogether they gave my users and myself, I've been using this app myself a lot, a really good experience, and it was really fast to enter or edit those games. And yeah, I feel like AI gave me more time to work on those nice little things that really make a difference, because there was no app out there who worked that well with placing your bets. All right, so what did building something with AI actually feel, right? So this is kind of the reflection of myself. And my first thought was, I miss writing code myself. It's something that I was doing for 10, even more years, and now AI has taken this away from me. And now I have to review code. Why? Why don't you review the code and I write it? I know why, because you're better at probably both very soon. But yeah, I miss writing code myself. It was just magical writing code in this terminal, in this IDEs. It looked very hacky, fancy, special. Then you create this application, you can put it to the world, everybody can access it. This just felt really magical, and that's why I fell in love with this job and with coding at the beginning. And this is different now. But on the other hand, it was also really amazing working on this application, because yeah, there are such amazing tools to work with AI. I could very easily spin up a new feature for a new idea, try it out with Polyscope, and throw it away if I don't like it. Or I'm going to review and merge it if I liked it. So there are lots of benefits also when you're working with AI. And yeah, I had this mixed feelings here, was missing code, but I also liked how I could work on this application. Then also, yeah, AI is really fast at writing code, but it doesn't mean everything is now simple. You still have to review it. You still have to check a lot. You still want to be the person in control. You don't want to let the AI do it. We're not fully there yet. I'm pretty sure we're soon. I tell everybody coding manually will be a hobby in a year. I'm pretty sure about that. Lots of people will still do it because they like it, and that's fine, but it's now how most people will do it because, yeah, there are just now better ways to do it. And I also felt like even with AI helping me building this application in so many ways, there was still so much that I had to put myself into this application to make it a good one. Thinking about how I want it to be, thinking about the details, thinking about the overall picture. Of course, marketing, which I was really bad at because I finished this application just a week before the World Cup, which was not the best timing. But yet there's still a lot that I had to put in myself, even though AI is in there. So I feel like it doesn't matter if you're using AI or not. If you don't put a lot of your effort into application, even with AI, it won't be special or that good. And one realization, yeah, you probably heard it already in some way from all the things that I said. I felt like I'm not going to write much code again in my career. I think it's over. I still write it a little bit for demos, for videos that I do, for things that I want to test. But I mean, it's 95% less than before, for sure. Maybe even more. And it's crazy when I think about it, but that's the new reality. So AI is not going away. Those tools are not going away. Everything is changing, and we have to change and adapt. And I really felt like this project helped me to go from, okay, what is happening, to see also the benefits of where it's going, and see that there can also be a bright future for us as developers. Maybe developer is not going to be the right term anymore, maybe engineers. I don't know what the term will be, but I can still do a lot of the things that I want to do. And AI also gave me the possibility to work on way more complex and difficult stuff that I wouldn't have touched before AI. So yeah, lots of things are changing, but I'm already starting to see silver lining, I guess is the term. I see some positives there, and this project really helped me to see the other side. Okay, so this project finished after the World Cup. We had over 400 users, which I'm really amazed by, which is really a lot for this little side project. And just for me, finish in 1 week before the World Cup started, we had 65 active leagues, lots of bets being placed, lots of events, lots of reminder emails of people who forgot to enter their bets. And this is also something that no other application had before. It's very simple. You often forgot to bet on something because some games only end up later. You can't bet at the beginning on them, so you have to wait a little bit, and then you can bet on them. And then people forgot about them, and then they get really annoyed because they lost some points here. But not with my application. I'm sending you emails a day before when you forget something so that you can still put them in time. And lots of points that people got here. And of course, everything is hosted on Laravel Cloud. Was the first time I was using managed queues here, one of the new features that we have at Laravel, now also with hibernation and really short times to wake them up, which is really crazy. So amazing work here by the team, and I really enjoyed working with managed queues because it's such easy. You just create now this new managed queues, to give it a name, and then you just watch what's happening. You see some graph analytics when something goes wrong, and you don't have to deal with this yourself anymore. And for such side project, this is really amazing. The less I have to do also on the hosting side, the better it's for me. And that, where Laravel Cloud really shines also for kind of simple or medium-sized projects like this one. Okay, so I want to leave you with some positives here. I think if you've been a good developer the last 10 years, couple of years, if you know what it likes to write good code, if you care about code, and if you also check out AI, the new tools, what's out there, then I feel like you are in the best position for the next couple of years, and you are ahead of everybody else, because this is the perfect mix currently that you should have. It doesn't it's not a good idea if you just write everything yourself, even if you're great at developing. And it's not good if you're just vibe coding and you have no idea about coding anymore. If you're in between this is the right spot where it should be. And this I will guarantee you will be good for the next couple of years. And then we will all see what happens then. Okay, thanks a lot. Please check out Bet Your Goal. We were going to support the Women's World Cup next year and the Men's Euros in 2 years again. So when those tournaments arrive, think about Bet Your Goal. Please sign up with your friends, with your company. You can find me on Twitter, X, LinkedIn, with my name everywhere. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Christoph. Let me
Thank you
screen
so
share out of there. That was great. Beautiful looking slides. Nice looking app with some help from Claude Design there.
Yeah, of course, Claude Design had to do this presentation. I was like, hey, can Claude Design also do this presentation? And of course it can. And then I felt like, okay, then I'll do it with Claude Design as well, because it's a perfect fit for this talk. And it worked also really nicely. I just wanted to mention, it's so strange when I talk for 30 minutes and I don't hear anybody. And then a few things with the browsers tabs things go on, and I'm like, if people don't hear me anymore and I don't hear anybody, it could be I'm talking to just nobody. It's always crazy with these online streams, but I'm glad that everybody is still here, it seems.
Yeah, no, definitely people are very active in the chat, and I've had the same thought too. You know, you don't know if your joke was well received, or if people are groaning at your joke, or if they got the last point you made. Yeah, it's a little bit tough sometimes, but
yeah,
that was great. Actually, my first question was just right at the start. You talked about when you started building it, and did I catch that right? You said you started building this like last October. Was that the time?
Yeah, I think in October was the first commit.
And I'd be curious because I think there was, I've heard a number of people talk about this. There was something tangibly that happened with some of the LLMs and some of the releases right towards the end of last year, I think. And there was a thing, I think a lot of us experienced, some of us had like a break during the holiday time in October, or in December rather. And we came back and it all of a sudden seemed like everyone was building with AI and experimenting with some of these things. And you didn't really see that before. So I've just wondered, like your shift, your lean into building with AI, was that at all connected with some of the improvements in the LLMs, or what was like the thing that kind of like gave you that push to be like, all right, let's give this a try. Let's lean into some of these tools a bit more.
Yeah, sure. So I guess there were many things that led to me using and checking out more tools. But as you said, a lot of people mentioned during the holidays or after the holidays when they came back, okay, there's so many things changing. We heard lots of companies also starting to struggle. We had a little bug here. Go away. We don't like bugs here. Not on my prompter.
We don't like bugs here.
Also not the real ones. And for me, back then it was still too early, I think. Like I mentioned, January, February, this is where I realized, okay, there's something going on. I need to deal with this myself as well. Being at Laravel, being out there with the community, I need to know what's going on. I think I also heard a lot of, pretty sure from inside the company, we have so many great developers and people out there which are on the cutting edge of what's going on with AI as well. And I'm pretty sure I heard things on Twitter, inside, outside, and at some point I felt like, okay, enough, I have to deal with this more. And then I felt like, okay, maybe this is the right opportunity to use this side project to learn more about those agents. And I think every time when I used something new, I was blown away. I still remember the first time that I used, I think it must have been Cloud Code. Yeah, I think this was the main first one that most people were using. And the first time I used it on something, I was, again, blown away. Wait, this terminal thing is doing stuff and it's so good right from the beginning. And when you have no idea what it can be, and then you just do stuff, and also little things changing files or things where I feel like this AI can do this. And and it was really blown away. And I think this was one spark. And from there, people and for myself, I noticed I can't go back. So this is something that I have to deal with and to check out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely had that experience. Or, I think a lot, especially in the first number of times I tried some things out, tried to actually build something in earnest. It was had low expectations, right? I was like, this is gonna work, or it's gonna get part of the way there, and I expect to open the browser and see a bunch of console errors and stuff like that, and it's like,
Yeah.
It works. Okay. And it looks pretty good. And it's like, yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah. Also,
pretty
especially
amazing.
because AI in some way was already in our IDEs before, like in PHP Storm, you have some auto completion. And if you're going from this auto completion in some IDEs to using something like Cloud Code, this is a huge step, because suddenly it's not about this file anymore. It's suddenly, hey, this knows about the whole project. Everything that I'm doing, it knows about it. It can find stuff. And this was, such a huge step.
Yeah.
Which,
Actually, I just saw a
crazy.
comment here from Matthias. Said around October, I was co-coding and copying full PHP classes from ChatGPT. I was there myself, and it all slowly went downhill from there to full-blown agentic workflow.
I forgot this step. Yeah, there was a lot of times, I think even in the first phase of my project, where I wasn't using AI to write code, but I was still using AI to help me explain stuff. So, hey, how do I do this in React? What's the right approach? And then it walked me through, and then I did write it myself. And this was also the time where I copied lots of things from, I don't know, was it ChatGPT or something else, into my IDE. And then I think about this. It's so annoying that we had to do this, and this is so much better now.
Yeah, and I feel something. There's something very natural too about developers. You'll do something enough, and then if there's like pain points to it, you'll eventually be like, all right, I gotta make this easier, right? And I think a lot of us are feeling that, flipping back and forth between the browser and your code and copying and pasting things, and ChatGPT didn't necessarily always have the full context of what you were doing. And it's like kind of almost natural, like looking back on it now, be like, let's just like get the AI into the code here so it can actually look at all the code I'm looking at. I have to explain a lot less stuff, and it can then actually manipulate things and make changes for me, right? Yeah, that was definitely a big unlock personally.
Huge step, yeah.
Another question we have from the audience, from Philippe. He wants to know, how much AI do you think a junior developer should embrace in their workflows? I guess with your experience, there's a lot to kind of take in, but from a junior perspective, what seems overwhelming? I am curious about that too.
Oh yeah, I've heard this question a couple of times now, and I don't found the perfect answer yet. It's really, really difficult, because we're currently in a phase where everything is changing, and it's really hard to be a junior here. And I think you're still in the mix where it's good to learn code. I think you can't learn code the way like we did 5-10 years ago. So much has changed. You can learn it more way customized to your needs with an agent, with some help here. You can still learn a lot, and they are so much closer to you. So I don't think much people are going to watch full courses of how to do this, and then you have 30 videos to watch. We see it with Laracast and other platform there. The industry, how people are learning is so much changing, and I don't think there is a right answer to this yet. But as I mentioned, I think it's a good idea to understand code. But juniors, they're going to use a lot of AI, and they should, because why not? Because that's what we all are going to use. And if they can try to learn more about why things are as well next to this, then I think this would be the perfect spot also for junior developers. But I think it's very, very hard for a junior these days what to learn and how to get a job, and what do the people require the job for a junior dev. I think this is also changing a lot. I don't know if they're. Sorry, you go first.
Oh, sorry. Just hearing how you were talking about you're constantly learning new things starting this in October and trying to figure out all the tools. With all your experience, you are still learning every single day. And so maybe to ask the inverse of this, in my perspective, I guess, what do you think are the most important things to learn on top of AI and to be stable with, like understanding maybe like basic fundamentals of coding, certain aspects? Like, what has helped you maybe help juniors taking on?
You still need some kind of overall feeling what is needed to create an application. So maybe you don't need to understand Tailwind classes anymore. You don't need to know what they mean, or to look up, or simple methods to in PHP, but you might need a good understanding. Okay, what does it take for an application to be performant? What does it take on a database level? So you need the big picture of all those different parts that bring together an application. And I think we've seen it also with a couple of teachers out there. They are now trying to bring those overall engineer skills, I think some of them see, to people, which are now more important than the detailed ones, like how to create a class or things like that, are not that important anymore. But it's very, very hard to reply to this. So
Oh yeah, it's a very broad topic. I'm sure that people are still trying to figure out what is the answer to this.
I mean, at some point we heard there won't be any junior devs anymore because now AI is doing all of this, but I don't believe this. I also don't believe that there won't be developers out there because AI is replacing us. I don't think this is what's happening. I think it's like always things are shifting and there are new skills that you now need as a developer. I don't know if it will be developer or engineer. Maybe you will be the boss of an agent. I don't know. But yeah, as always, you have to shift with how the industry is changing. And I don't think developers will go away. The way how we develop will change a lot, but not our jobs.
And this is where all the spicy comments come in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
that statement about the junior developers, I think we've all heard that numerous times. But like, what strikes me is like, well, do we see in the future, are there still going to be like, more experienced senior developers? And if so, like, eventually those people are going to die, right?
Yeah.
So how do we replace those people? I would think like, unless you can like Benjamin Button yourself and, end up, show up as an experienced developer, you're going to have to be a junior at some point, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
and
this
should be the motivation for lots of companies to don't stop having juniors. And might change what they are learning, what's required from them. But you need people that grow and also get those experience at some point, because as I said, we're all going to die. We are going away, and we need others to do our jobs then as well.
Yeah, and I think like I think we're all in a very similar boat of like, I don't know the best advice for a junior developer. I would think one thing I would caution them to keep in mind, right? And then I think we can, even as experienced developers, we could suffer this if we ventured into a code base or a language and ecosystem we were less familiar with, of just like telling the AI to do something and then it does the thing, and like not going much deeper than that in terms of like understanding how is this conceptually, what's the mental model I want to build here, right? So I would encourage people like, the lower level, the syntax of like how we make this class and how we, implement this pattern, that's going to be maybe less important language to language, but understanding that general concept is going to be important, right? And I've found, especially, jumping into code bases that I'm less familiar with, AI is an awesome tool too, just for like exploring the code base. Don't even put the code generation part aside of it, right? Just explore the code base, ask it questions, and almost treat the AI, if you're a junior developer, especially treat the AI like that senior that you're pairing with, that you could ask a bunch of, even silly questions to build up that mental model. And I think that's what's really important, is that we have a good mental model of like what makes good software and what we want it to produce. But we don't necessarily need to get bogged down with the lower level details of how that's done.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think also a good example is Sam from our marketing team. She just created the Photos application or photo site for Laracon US Photos, and she had no code experience before, and she did this, and we followed her journey. And I think it's also pretty cool because she also started with just prompting, see what it gets, and at some point she had to find out, okay, what is a model, or what is caching, or how does caching work, because there was a caching issue that she mentioned. I saw she mentioning somewhere. So I think also for juniors, it's still good that they start building something, and then on the way they're going to learn new things, and they can start with AI building things, but then at some point they might have to go a little bit deeper. And then at this point they should go deeper, and because this is where they get some more experience. And I think this might be also something what it can or look like for junior devs. We're still in people who are not afraid to try new stuff, try to build stuff, like we all did, try to build a blog like we did 10 years ago. This was the one thing where everybody started coding, or for most people, start building this band website that you need for your band. And then from there, it just flows and you have to go there. And I think this could be the future as well for juniors.
Yeah, totally. As you were building things, like you talked, I think certainly a first experiences I had was like, you have an idea of, I want to make this class, I want to do this thing, and tell the AI to do that thing, right? And then I think some people then start, developing a more holistic approach to their development, and not just using AI for the code generation, but for other aspects, code review, investigating, but possible implementations, forming a plan for implementation. Out of curiosity, Christoph, did you have any experiences building out your app where you maybe ended up implementing something in a different way than you might have otherwise, if that makes sense, right? Like, did you do much planning with AI in terms of like, what's the right architectural solution here? Or was it more like you had an idea of what you wanted and you were just kind of telling the AI to do the thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, good one. I'm not really sure anymore. It's already that long ago.
It was more than a week ago, right? It's hard to remember.
Yeah, crazy. I think I would have planned more if I wasn't using AI. I mean, I started without AI. So, but I think with side project like this, I try to have this rough plan of what I want to do, and it was kind of straightforward. So this app, there's again nothing like rocket science. It's not that special and not that complex. And I really like to just start with one of the features that I had in mind or the boilerplate. Now you're starting all your projects with Laravel starter kits and you're already, I don't know, feels like halfway there because they're so good. So I think with what I know now, if I would start a new project, I would definitely use probably Solo and do a lot of research and let the agents plan with me together and some skills to grill me. There are also some very famous skills out there that help with that, to have a good understanding. And then I would probably do it differently like this if I would do it now. But I think back then I sometimes with side projects just like to go right in, try something out, and then move on from there. And even with AI, this is even more easy than it was before, I'd say.
Totally. Yeah. I think, you have some projects that you have a very clear idea what you wanted to do, but I've also had some great experiences where going into something, it's like, I'm not quite sure how I want to do this, or I can think of a, and then being able to like bounce ideas off the AI of like, what are the pros and cons to these different approaches? I think, that's one thing I'm, chatting with team members and clients and stuff, right? I think there's a general feeling of like, everything's going to go faster with AI. And like, some things for sure, absolutely, right? But I don't think that should be the only message, right? I think one of the other advantages in some instances, it's going to take a similar amount of time, but we're going to be able to deliver something a lot better initially, because there's that planning round. There's maybe been edge cases that were kind of, caught before they happened, right? And then you end up with a better implementation, a better product initially. So I think it's not just speed. It's going to be multiple things that use the right way AI is going to help with in software development.
Yeah, so true. And now remember, one thing that always stuck with me is when Taylor said, when you build a new application, new idea, always start with the most difficult thing to see if this works, because if it doesn't work, you can throw it away and you don't need to spend one time thinking about how it looks and then throwing it away. And I think that's also what I did with this application. I just started it manually, but having everything with events and with verbs and what this looked like, this is kind of the core of the application. And this defines a lot how this application is built to compare to not using events. So this is also what I started with. So I guess this is what I still would do, and think it's a great advice by Taylor himself.
Yeah, no, that is great advice, because it's so easy too, especially without AI. Like, get into something and you just end up avoiding the hard thing because oh, this is easy, I'll do this. This is easy, I'll do this. You get a dopamine drip from getting stuff done, but then you end up running into this wall of like, I don't know how to do this, right? And I think hopefully in using AI as a tool there, that could be, you can mitigate some of that, in that, like, you know what, I'm not really sure how to do this. This is going to be a tricky feature, but let's spend a bunch of time planning and talking to the AI and determining maybe we want to go with things. And then you can end up at a solution that's hopefully then just easy to implement from there.
Yeah, just today, I don't want to mention what this project idea is about, but I had this idea for something that I want to build, and before no ways I would have even thought about building something like this. And I just brainstormed with, I think it was Claude, and he was, sure, this is possible. You just need this and this and this, and we can do this. Should I build you an MCP? And I'm like, wait, am I doing this now? And okay, let's do this. Crazy,
yeah, it's always very, very eager to help. That's for sure.
Yeah, the good and the bad. Yeah.
I guess one question I have, using AI halfway through a project, what was like your biggest, was there any major hallucinations that you saw, like kind of on this topic, where maybe this new thing was added in that you weren't aware of? Was there any moments like that when you started using AI halfway through your project?
Yeah, it's crazy. There was none of that.
That's great.
I would say I can't remember any even a real bug. It's crazy. Maybe I missed some, but maybe there were more things like, hey, okay, it's behaving like this, but I would want it to behave a little bit more differently. But I'm still amazed there were no real bugs in there. And there were a lot of things that were stressful about this, because this is an application that I can't really test before the tournament starts. I try to, but lots is happening because of the data that I get from a third party giving me the data about the games, the results, and then I have to work with this. And this means, so when the tournament started, this is when the application really started. And at this point, I was really nervous. Okay, is everything working as I expected it? Because I had lots of tests. Hey, when this data comes in from my provider, then do this, and it works. But it's still not the same as when the real data comes in. Or what happens if the data doesn't come in as you expected? So I was really nervous. So a lot of things happened during the time where the tournament was, and I couldn't really test it with just a couple of people for a month. So this didn't work there. So in this case, it was a little bit special and stressful because, I was a bit scared. But still everything worked out as expected. I'm sure there are some things in there that might break or could have break, but I'm really glad I didn't see those. And I'm also asking myself, okay, is AI really that good, or was it just a little bit of luck as well? We never know.
With that kind of experience, is that like a pattern you can recognize as, like you think of like TDD and the traditional way of doing it, but now you have AI, and then there's certain points where it makes sense to add tests or makes sense to kind of just roll with the real data. Is there a pattern there that you've identified that you followed now with that kind of test implementation?
No, not really. I think those AIs are so good. They're already providing a lot of good tests. I mean, compared to half a year ago, for everything that they do, I don't even have to ask them to write tests. They just do it. Mainly because Laravel and Boost probably, which has a lot of information how they should do stuff. I guess mostly it's because of that, but I'm pretty sure even without that, AIs are so good. I still look at tests because I really like to understand the tests, and I want them to be very straightforward so that I can read them. So I check those quite closely because I've been a testing fan for many, many years, and I'm still something that I care about. But I'm also not sure what this will look like in a couple of years because they're not important to me anymore, those tests.
It's so interesting how
I mean, at some point they are. In some way they are, and they are running with every merge and things like that, and the AI is running that. But if they weren't there and the AI would just tell me it checked everything and it's working, it wouldn't be much of a difference anymore. Maybe it's a little bit spicy one, but
hot takes.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great hearing that.
All right, looking at the time, Christoph, I know you're going to get to some things, so we don't want to keep you too much longer. I think I have one more question from you. This is actually sent in from vehicle team member Colin DiCarlo, but it kind of talks about documentation of your efforts. And specifically, as you're working through this application, there's going to be a bunch of very domain-specific things to the application, certain rules and concepts and stuff like that. How did you approach, or did you approach, like documenting that stuff so that in future iterations and cycles, the AI can kind of know what to consult in terms of like, what does this application care about? What are the terms in this application you're using? Did you have any approach to that, Christoph?
Yes, at the beginning, what I always did when I did manually, I have this big markdown file with kind of to-dos where I list everything that the user should be capable of. So things like a user can log in, a user can place a bet, a user get notified. So this helps me at the beginning to structure the project. I think I also have a markdown file in there I think I also only have one in there with a couple of things that I want to improve, which I already know for the next version. No, I don't have anything in there, but this is something that would be good. I agree on, but let me think. I think it would be for sure good to have something in there to, like the rules that I mentioned for placing bets and general things. I think it would be good, but I didn't do it for this one.
Yeah, I think too, you can kind of deal with those as they come. If you ever have any issues or you feel like you have to do some more explaining to the AI, it's like, oh, you should have known that this, a goal meant this or whatever. You can use, so I think you can kind of build those things out as you go to kind of give it further and further instructions.
I think why rethinking, I think I didn't do it because I never felt like I have to. Because everything was working that smoothly. And also because it's a side project without money involved. So I think I'm okay with this, but if I would take this a little bit more seriously, I would definitely do it. I recommend it.
There's be a lot of considerations. If you're a real production application, you're working with a team of people, you'd probably approach some things a little differently.
Of course.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Marco, did you have anything else, questions on your side or?
No, those are the questions that I have. That was such an amazing presentation and definitely learned a lot. So thank you so much, Christoph. Really appreciate your time and explaining all that. And I have a lot of people in the comments saying they're happy to rewatch it and learn a lot more things the more they watch it. So great job.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you again, Christoph. Any last word you wanted to give to the community here before you sign off there, Christoph?
Yeah, maybe go out there, keep building things, try to use new tools, do it how you want it to be. I really think people should try to see the positive side of things, that we now have new tools that enables new ideas. And yeah, in the end, it's still up to you. You have to come with the idea. You have to put the effort in. So I think that's also interesting. Last thing that I want to mention is that even with all those tools out there on Twitter and everywhere, the people that build cool stuff are still mostly the same as before. So the people with the good ideas, the people that put the extra work in are the ones who have good results to create amazing applications. I think there are some excuses, of course, like Sam from the marketing team, who couldn't build something like the Photos app before. Now she can do, but yeah, she put a lot of work from her side into this. So yeah, please everybody, put in the effort, go the extra mile, and then yeah, it will be better than what you can do. And please use those tools out there, find what fits for you, and yeah, please still have fun building stuff, because we're at Laravel here. We are here for you to build your next big project, side project, big dream. We're here for you, and that's why we're doing this, and that's why we put all out of those things for you. So yeah, keep building.
Awesome. Yeah, build stuff, ship stuff, have fun.
Yeah.
Share
Yeah,
what
shipping
you
is good too.
Yeah, shipping is good. All right. Well, thank you very much, Christoph. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll send you on your way. Have a great day, Christoph.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Margot, before we sign off, we just got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. So what do we got here?
Cool. Thanks so much, Dan. So you can join us next month for our next meetup. You can take a look on all of our socials, which I'm just about to get into, and you can find out some details about what we're talking about next month. And as for other things, so we also have our JetBrains giveaway. So again, thank you to JetBrains. We're going to, if you scan that QR code, we'll announce our winner on September 1st. And you'd be entered into a draw to win one of 2 JetBrains IDE 1-year full subscriptions. Also, make sure to follow us on socials to keep up to date with what's going on. So you can follow us on X at Laravel WW Meetup. We have a great following on there, and you stay up to date with what's going on. You could also message us if you are interested in speaking at a future meetup as well. And as well, the details about Blue Sky, you can follow us at laravelwwmeetup.bluesky.social. And of course, stay connected with us by joining on our official website, meetup.laravel.com. You can find a lot of our previous posts and previous videos and recordings, and a lot more information about what we're all about. So you can check us out at meetup.laravel.com. And of course, check out the official Laravel YouTube channel at youtube.com/LaravelPHP. There's a great amount of videos on there. And if you love what Christoph had to say, he has a lot of great videos on there. Please check it out. What a great resource for any of your Laravel needs.
And that's it. All right. Well, thanks again, Christoph, for joining us and sharing a journey through something we've all been experiencing and continue to experience over the next little while. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Margot, any last words from you before we sign off?
Thanks to everybody that's been helping us support this channel and have been checking us out live. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. We'd love to hear any of your feedback. So please feel free to connect with us. We'd love to stay connected with the community and hear what you have to say about our show. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.